The movie Man of the Year is about a comedian, played by Robin Williams, who hosts his own late-night program similar to today's Colbert Report with Stephen Colbert. In the movie, Robin Williams' character, Tom Dobbs, decides to run for president of the United States. During the election, with the help of his new friend Eleanor Green, played by Laura Linney, they discover the election has been fixed, getting him more votes than he should have had because of a malfunction in the computerized system. This leads to a media explosion during the presidency campaign. There are several rhetoric components found throughout this movie in regards to the presidency. It is important to first state that Tom Dobbs is not a typical candidate for president, and this is shown throughout the movie. The style of his campaign is unlike any other candidate's style. He was trying to reach the goal of being different. He was not part of the Republican Party and not part of the Democratic Party. He was an independent, running for the people. His strategy was to bring change to the country. He was outspoken during debates, had a different style of speeches than the typical candidate, and was more honest than the typical candidate, specifically the two that he was running against. Throughout the movie, Tom Dobbs was presented to the audience in many different aspects, as an example of rhetoric actions through his time of the campaign trail of presidency. The first point in which Tom Dobbs was found experiencing presidential rhetoric was through masculinity. As president or presidential candidate, the candidate must be seen as masculine. From experience of past United States presidents, the Americans are looking for a masculine figure to run their country. There are many different aspects in which a president can be seen as masculine. Tom Dobbs obtains many of these. The first is his occupation achievements. Typically, a candidate's past occupation is working in Congress or being a senator, but Dobbs was being a comedian. Though this is out of the norm, it still worked for him because he was well known because of it. He was a face that could be recognized by the American people. The second aspect is his heterosexuality. The Americans typically look for a heterosexual man as their president. We know that Dobbs is heterosexual not only because of his actions, specifically because of many of the jokes he makes, but because of his personal actions, including his relationship with Eleanor Green in the movie. Throughout the movie, Dobbs begins to fall in love with Green, showing his heterosexuality. Another aspect that makes Dobbs seen as masculine to the American people is his frontiersmanship. He was just a comedian and decided to run for president of the United States of America. He was switching to completely different roles and was doing it very quickly. The final aspect is Dobbs' physical force and control. This is an important aspect of masculinity because it is seen most often and thought of as a good presidential candidate characteristic. Dobbs shows that he has control because he takes initiative throughout the campaign trail. According to Coe in his article, Masculinity as Political Strategy, people are constructed as masculine by positioning themselves or by positioning others as embodying a set of cultural practices and expressions that carry the currency of manhood. Dobbs does things the way he wants to do them. He wanted the American people to see him as he is and not as someone that he thought they wanted to see. For example, in the debate in the movie, Dobbs steps off his podium and gave a speech, speaking when it wasn't his turn, taking up too much time, and walking back and forth across the stage. This was him taking control of the situation at the debate. Not all rhetoric concepts have to deal directly with the president or the presidential candidate. In the movie, Eleanor Green played a big role with the overall scandal at hand, which was the computerized malfunction with the elections. Eleanor was a heroic citizen throughout the movie. Eleanor holds many of the characteristics of heroic citizenship. In the movie, she is in a situation in which she discovers information that she should not have figured out. She is fired from her job, watched constantly, and is poorly portrayed in the media. Also, she doesn't report her findings to the media, which would result in a scandal with the election poll company. Eleanor did this because she stuck with her gut feeling. She knew that she could not keep this a secret, and she wanted to tell someone to make things right. She wanted the election to be fair and not fixed by a computer system. As she kept her ground throughout the movie, she was tortured physically as well as mentally and emotionally through the media. She was heroic because she did not fall into the trap of just letting things go the way they were, rather than making them correct and being honest. Murphy stated it in his article, that the narratives are told in an intimate rhetorical style and reduces complex issues into dramatic narratives of inspiration, emphasizes the conciliatory good deeds carried out by heroic individuals, and contemporizes the American ideals of participatory democracy through the characters of a humble, ideal citizen. This is a good description of Eleanor throughout the film. She was humble and seen as an ideal citizen because of the actions that she took. The final rhetoric concept seen in the film is a mediated presidency. There are several propositions about media coverage of the presidency. Tom Dobbs acquires several of these. The first is the presidential decision-making. Dobbs' decision-making was not that of a typical presidential election, which he received a lot, if not more attention from the media than other opponents. The second, the presidential speeches all epidemic speeches. Dobbs goes against this one because he was out of the ordinary with his speeches. He used foul language and inappropriate body language that presidential candidates have never used in campaigns before. Another example is that he was in the debate with the current president and the other candidate. He took over the debate, stepping out from behind the podium and speaking out of turn. Also, Dobbs appeared on Saturday Night Live, which is not a typical show that presidential elects would appear on, to announce serious news. Vancour's opinion in his article, The President and Communications, the Media of the Political Process, is that there's more on television. He's wondering what power really was. He began to think that television exposures meant power to a lot of politicians. Being interviewed on television, going on Face the Nation, certainly going on Today Show, would have held primacy to place in the morning news shows. This shows how important it is for candidates to go on television and to present themselves in that way. According to Vancour, he thinks that television is becoming very close to either the major part, which is already a political process, or is in danger, or we are in danger, of becoming a political process itself. This shows that the media is taking over American political campaigns, is where Americans get the information about the candidates and the issues. There are many different aspects to presidential rhetoric concepts displayed in the movie Man of the Year. These include masculinity, heroic citizenship, and mediated presidency. Masculinity is widely seen in the presidential elections as an important concept. Heroic citizenship is seen as often through the media, but it is displayed that is promising to the American people. Finally, mediated presidency shows how much the media influences the American people and how it affects the American presidency and the election.